Mr. Malisa. I'm very happy to be here. As it was mentioned here, I will be speaking about the Iranian side, what's happening in Baluchistan. As it was mentioned, the Baluchistan geopolitical situation is very important. I think it is one of the reasons also that region is not prospering and in peace. It is because of this border. Border always doesn't mean that they have to be changed to be peaceful, or sometimes keeping border also does not keep peace also, as an argument. One should look at the local situation and the situation that is brought those borders and the situation that we are come together, come to this situation and how we can come out of this situation. As far as Baluchistan is concerned, Baluchistan geopolitical situation, and also it is rich in the natural resources, and it has the sea line in that region, which is also very important for many of the other countries surrounding Baluchistan for their resources to reach to the sea also. So all of this makes the situation much more complicated when it's concerned to Baluchistan. Why Baluchistan was divided, everybody knows that the colonial power at the time decided that it should be like that. They could have decided otherwise also. But today I think that decision, whatever by whom that was made, is backfiring to everybody. And this is the situation because this did not help the democratization of the situation in the Southeast Asia and the Middle East. It was mentioned here that Iran is not part of Southeast Asia, but anyway, being Baluchistan in Pakistan, so Baluchistan is rather in both Central Asia, in Afghanistan, and in Southeast Asia, and in the Middle East also. In Iranian side of Baluchistan, it was talking about the resources. In the Pakistan side of Baluchistan, there we have also major resources. In 2004, the regime said that 16 blocks of the new oil have been found in Iran, and most of them were in Baluchistan. And there was also interest, also as it was mentioned, also from Western companies, being American and everybody else, to invest in those situations. But as we know, Iran is in a political situation with the international community when it comes to there are many issues, and it was not possible to invest in those. And also recently in 2012, Iran also said that they have found new resources in Oman Sea, which is completely in Baluchistan when it's concerned Iran, and we Baluch call it, of course, Makran Sea. It has been for centuries, Makran's Oman is just a new name from the Pahlavi time. They say they have found the natural resources in the Oman Sea that are equal to the complete resources that Iran have, both oil and in gas. And this led also, of course, in Iran, when they find some oil resources, they always think in terms of militarization. This is where Iran also started the maneuver in Baluchistan, also in this February. Mr. Ahmadinejad was there in Chabahar for the inauguration of this maneuver, naval maneuver, both by the Revolutionary Guard and the Iranian army. There he said that Baluchistan could, for many years or many decades, could feed all of Iran because of its natural resources. After the naval maneuver was over, Iran also announced that they are building a new naval base close to the Gwadar, which was mentioned here, in a city that we Baluch call Gwad. It is exactly on the border with the Pakistani side of Baluchistan. But the Iranian, of course, changed the name to Kasabanda, since they want to also pronounce it themselves. This is one problem what we have in Iran also, where they change the name of the Baluch cities, even it's far away from the center, just to make sure that they can pronounce it. I have to say here that they have very difficult time pronouncing my family name, Boladai. Most of the Swedish is very, I live in Sweden, people there can pronounce it, but in Iranian, it's very difficult for them to pronounce it. I hope one day they will learn it. And this is, we can see that what's happening in this situation. So we see that Iran always at least finds something in Baluchistan and beat in a region. They always try to militarize that region, and that's been more suppression for the people in many ways. And we have mentioned here what's happened in Iran at the same time. Iran is doing this maneuver, moving closer to the Pakistani border military, and China is also coming to the border. So this means that Iran and the Chinese borders are closing, getting much more closer comparatively than before. Now this is just about 20 minutes. You can walk there, or you can just take boat from Wat to border. It's making 10 minutes if you take a boat from Gulf to Guadalajara. So there is no border between Iran and China at the moment, if you consider this situation. Another problem that was mentioned here, and I also want to mention it in the perspective from the Iranian side of Balochistan, it is the Islamic extremism. Because in Iran we have also a special situation. Iranian government, as we know, is a theocratic government based in the Shia sect, and the Baluch, majority of the Baluch are Sunni in Iran. And this is one of the causes also that in Iran we have this national operation from the Shah's time. It was intensified during the Islamic regime because the Baluch are Sunni. And from the beginning, the Islamic Republic of Iran considered Baluch as anti-revolutionary. And these policies have been shown in many ways. Because historically, everybody knows that it was mentioned here that Baluch have been very secular people, and we have tried to live our secular life, the way of life that we have been used to, but when we opened our eyes, we were found a situation where we did not control it, given those borders and the international situation with the new found the Islamization in the region. What is happening today, especially in the growing situation there in Baluchistan, is that both Iranian and Pakistani government try to use the Islamic extremism or fundamentalism against the Baluch national democratic forces. And they also try to make Baluch more fundamentalist or extremist Muslim. This is to say that in Iran and Baluchistan, never historically we had any fundamentalist group during those times. They were Baluch group coming and fighting against the regime of Shah, but none of them was extremists like we had recently that has been happening in the Iranian Balochistan. We find that there are many small groups that come to existence and then they disappear. Most of them are active in the same kind of activity, that is to say, it's indiscriminate killing, what is the Pakistani state do, and the Iranian state do against the Baluch. And they, of course, tried the Iranian government, and we can see that those groups have some special characteristics that what I've seen from those regions. Most of those groups, they have, for instance, even you say Jundullah, Ansar, and Sakai Sahaba, so any of those, they have also their counterpart in the Pakistani side of Baluchistan. And they are also involved in Pakistan side of Baluchistan against the Baluch National Democratic Forces. After they try to attack them, terrorize them, or assassinate them. And another characteristic for those groups is that although they have the same ideology or common aim as this, if you look at their literature, they are anti-Shia, or they say that they are fighting for the Sunni right in Iran, but they are always split in smaller groups. They are never, we cannot see that they are larger groups. They are always a group of small leadership, and the one people here and one people there, and so this makes them much easier to be controlled. I think one of the reasons is they are made small by the Pakistan and Iran government is because they control them. And another, some of those groups, not all of them, some of those groups members goes easily between Iran and Pakistan without any problem. There is no problem for them. They can move from Afghanistan to come to Iran, go to Pakistan, and bring people, transport people from Arabian Peninsula to this side of Baluchistan, and from this side also, the same, I'm sure there should be some of those suicide bombers to the other side of the Arabian Peninsula. They go to the Yemen or some other place, to Iraq, to Syria, nobody knows. But they are transported in this region also. What is the reason for that Iran and Pakistan are doing this to support those Islamic groups in Baluchistan? It is, of course, the main reason is, as you can see, is to create false artificial political processes in that region. To replace the Baluch National Democratic Operation for the national right. And I think to some extent they have been also successful in that. And another reason is to create some kind of controlled instability in Baluchistan. Because those Islamic groups, what is their demand? I mean, when you say I'm an extremist group asking for the Sunnis right in Iran, how you can achieve Sunnis right in Iran if Iran is not going to be a democratic and secular government? If you just say that one, Sunnis right in Iran, without saying that Iran should be secular and democratic government, how are you going to achieve those rights? Are you telling all of Iran to a Sunni state? Because in Iran, 70% or 80% of the people are Shia. And this does not give anything benefit to the Baluch cause. And this is what both Iranian and Pakistani government likes in that region to be. And of course, it was mentioned here, I think somehow the drug trafficking also in Baluchistan, which is also a major problem. It's both internally for the Baluch situation, because many of the young people in Baluchistan have drug also, and as we can know, in the 60s, the surveys that have gone down there in the Iranian Balochistan at the time, even by the Iranian government itself, by the education ministry, that the drug was opium and this kind of thing were very much unknown in Balochistan at the time. But by the time Shah left, already they have introduced heroin to the region in Balochistan. And during the Islamic Revolution, you could see that now that the drug was trafficking from Baluchistan to the other side, or that the Afghanistan situation is being like that, that the drug transport from Afghanistan to Iran has dropped from 60% to 28%, so Iran is trying to start a new drug to sell to the world. This is called shisha, which is a chemical term that they use. It's not the same shisha as that they use in the cafeteria, and same thing, which is some kind of crystal and chemical and drug that Iran developed, and both sells inside Iran and outside. And the imported countries like Turkey and Armenian already have complained to Iran that you are smuggling this drug, which is very much worse than this heroin to other countries. And what I can say about the last word, because the time is closing, that as I can see, the Balochistan situation has an implication that was mentioned here for the region and for the international community, and this is what I think here. The Baloch also find it very much important for them, and I think the Baloch also feel the situation that they have common interest with the international community, both in the term of those countries becoming democratic countries, or either Baloch rights are being accommodated in some other ways, because the important thing is that the Baloch rights are respected, and Baloch has been accepted as a nation in their own, be it within this border or outside this border. So this is where the main things are. And I think the Balochistan situation, solving the Balochistan situation, would help the international community in many respects. Being controlling the drug and controlling the Islamic extremism, because it will break the communication line from Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, because of the international border, and the insecurity created a situation that Islamic groups can start at the border. They can go to this one and hide in that side and that side of the border. And Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan do not have any concept for the well-being of those people, and they would like the situation to be like that. If this is broken, I think it will help also in both in the term of the drug trafficking and Islamic extremism, and also Baluchistan being a place where many of those TP pipeline or peace pipeline, and they will be able to pass through due to geopolitical situation, and also from Central Asia. It will also a peace and security in Baluchistan, and Baluchistan, where the Baluch people are happy with the situation, will help the economic growth in the international community also. Thank you very much.